The candidate or candidates campaign committee.
Hello once again, wrestling fans, and welcome to Off the Top Rope Radio, heard worldwide on KQCK radio stations. I'm your host, Brian Shank, and in the next hour, we'll discuss all that is professional wrestling. You'll hear the latest news, informative interviews with the biggest stars in the business, and maybe even a few surprises along the way. It all starts right now on KQCK radio stations, USA and Costa Rica. That's a dedication going out to Triple H right there. Some Motorhead. I know you're a big fan, Triple H. Thank you for calling the radio station. Well, no, actually, Triple H did not call the radio station here at KQCK, but I know if he did, he'd probably request that one right there by Motorhead. I know he's a big Lemmy fan. Ace of Spades, baby! Yeah! I know Lemmy's still living with us today, and hopefully he'll still be here for a long time. God bless Lemmy Kilmister. I love that man. And I love being here at KQCK Radio, heard exclusively worldwide on KQCK.com. My name is Brian Shank. I'm the host of the program like always. This is Off the Top Rope Radio. We're talking professional wrestling like always. For about the next 58 minutes or so, we'll break down Night of Champions pay-per-view, break down Raw, talk about some of the current stories going on in the world of wrestling today, and we're going to be doing that here in the next few seconds or so. Like I said, welcome to the program. Today is Wednesday, September the 24th, the year 2014. We're glad that you could make us a part of your Wednesday evening. There's not much going on anyway on the TV set, so we're glad to have you here. And like I said, we always thank you for tuning in to Off the Top Rope Radio. I want to bring on my buddy here, someone who always tells us just like it is, gives us the news and his views and opinions and whatnot. He's the senior editor of WrestlingRumors.net, a fine website. Get all your information, all your stuff, all your stories, all your late-breaking news on WrestlingRumors.net. He's a good friend of mine. I love him. Well, like a friend. He is Doug McDonald. What's up, Doug?
Don't be afraid of your love.
Don't be afraid of your love. I see that being.
And I've got a question for you.
Yes.
Who would win in a wrestling match between Lemmy and God?
Well, aren't they the same person? I thought.
It's very true. It was a fair question. Lemmy is God.
So you thought you had me on that one, didn't you? I would have thought that you would have tried.
No, I was just waiting for the rest of the quote to be matched. Yeah. That was good.
You know, what'd you say there? Don't let your love. What was that again? You said.
I said, don't be afraid of your love.
Don't be afraid. Could you imagine like Lemmy with his new song? Don't be afraid of your love. Gah! I'd love to hear Lemmy sing something like that. Those lyrics practically write themselves, Doug. I'll tell you right now. I love Lemmy. You know, it's kind of funny because every time I see this one guy at work, he works as a slots captain, you know, like those slot machine people and stuff like that. Every time he comes around the corner, he sees me out there, he goes, don't forget the Joker! and we just always end up talking like Lemmy and Motorhead for like the next 5 minutes or so. I mean, you gotta love Motorhead. They are awesome. I love that band. I love Lemmy. I love Triple H's choice of music. I mean, how could you not pick a better person to sing The Game than Lemmy from Motorhead? I mean, it's awesome. And you know what's awesome, Doug? You, me, Off the Top Rope Radio, KQCK Radio, we're all here. We're having a great time. Let's break it down, baby. Let's get right into it. Night of Champions pay-per-view last Sunday night, followed up with Raw here this past Monday. Let's get into it right away here with the pay-per-view itself. Grading the pay-per-view, in your own opinion, from 1 to 10, as a whole, just all lumped into one, what would you give this pay-per-view?
Honestly, like a 7.5, man.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad pay-per-view at all. I actually enjoyed some of the matches and had some good storyline going on there, some good actual wrestling stuff, and yeah, it was very good. I thought it was quite a nice surprise, and I want to break it down with you match by match and get your opinions and whatnot, but tell me what you liked mostly about it from beginning to end. Did it flow well for you? Did you like the outcomes? Did you like the way things just kind of progressed? I mean, give me your opinions on that.
The actual wrestling was fantastic.
Very good.
Each person bested their butt to make sure each match was fantastic. The opening match set the tone, and the only match that didn't deliver, I guess, wrestling-wise, I mean, in storytelling, it was fine, but wrestling-wise, was the main event.
Yeah.
Everything else, the Divas match, even with Nikki Bella, was fantastic. I mean, everybody worked their butt off.
It was almost like someone backstage said, okay, guys, here we are. We're going into a pay-per-view. we really got to make this one shine. Go out there and do what you do best. That's wrestle and tell a story and make it happen. And they did just that, Doug.
But it's exactly what I said would happen.
Mm-hmm.
We get 4 weeks of crap TV, and we get a good pay-per-view.
Yeah.
4 weeks of terrible Raws led us to a, overall 7.5. Some would say 7.75.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and a lot of people just had complaints with, Roman Reigns wasn't there, and then you have the main event. A lot of people hated the dirty finish of the main event.
Yeah. Well, the Roman Reigns thing, obviously, that was something unforeseen. Anytime you have an emergency surgery due to hernia situations, that is a big priority to get that taken care of. Men, women can have that. Matter of fact, my mom is having an operation next week to repair her hernia that she's been having problems with. That also adds a lot of stress to the bladder area. And from what I understand, it's like someone just sticking a very sharp, protruding knife into your lower region there below your belly button, just like Roman Reigns had mentioned in a hospital bed. And so God bless Roman Reigns. We heard about a few months. He'll be out 2 to 3 months at least. It does throw a lot of wrenches into the machine here, so to speak, in regards to maybe some future storylines and where they were going to go with him. That is kind of a downfall. But the good news is we do have Dean Ambrose back, healthy. It looks like he's fit in, that is, to his role, Roman Reigns, that is, quite well. Now picking up some of the slack that they kind of have. They did it very well on Raw. I liked how they basically were together as one, John Cena and Dean Ambrose, that is, by trying to just beat the living hell out of Seth Rollins and really disrupt the Authority. The other thing I like, too, about Raw, and I know we'll get into that a little bit later on, but the other thing I like, too, is I really liked Randy Orton's performance, because when he said, you know what, you better have a talk with your boy because we're getting tired of putting out the fires he's starting. I thought, to me, just that 5 or 10-second clip that he had by adding to the storyline and showing that bit of frustration towards Seth Rollins, who is kind of like this spoiled rich kid with a gold briefcase that promises him a title shot whenever he wants to, and the jealousy factor there, it's almost like foreshadowing in a sense that maybe somewhere down the road, and I think it's pretty evident, that we will see Randy Orton eventually break away from the Authority, break away from Corporate Kane, and become maybe a fan favorite once again, or at least be his own man, which I really think Randy Orton needs to do to kind of get back on that next level where he was for so long. Because right now, I think ever since the Batista thing, he's kind of just been floating there. Obviously putting on some great matches, Doug, doing well what he's supposed to do, but I think Randy Orton now needs to kind of get over that next hurdle and really become that shining superstar he was just a couple of years ago.
He's doing some of his best in-ring work. He's making everything extremely smooth.
Yep.
He is putting a lot into the matches. I mean, his match with Chris Jericho was a clinic.
I agree.
At the pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
And I would, there's not a lot for him going on creatively other than being a member of the Authority.
Mm-hmm.
But he's putting on some of the best matches he's ever done in 2014.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you think about it, there's not much going on with him creatively, that is, right now. However, this is kind of a building block for him to get to that next upper echelon in his career, that if you're going to start out where you are and be who you are, you have to have some sort of beginning. And I think that when you have the beginning, you work into the middle part, and then the end will come on its own, because we all know the talent Randy Orton has. I mean, the guy is a tremendous wrestler. His look, his ability, his interviews, some of the stuff he's done lately, I really like that. So let's go back to the Night of Champions, and let's kind of break down the matches here. Did you like the Sheamus and Cesaro match? I thought it was heavy hitting. I thought it was really good. What was your opinions on that one?
Oh, so good. And it was coming right off of that high flying tag team match.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, my wife loves, like, the high flyers. Like, she loves Jeff Hardy. She loves RVD. She loves the Uso. Like, she loves watching those matches. So when we transitioned into that, and me and my buddy Drew were watching it with his girlfriend and my wife, and I'm like, I'm all into this Cesaro Sheamus match because it's a good brawling match. Where they were actually doing a lot of technical wrestling on top of it. And it was just really good. I was, there wasn't a lot of high flying stuff because that's not who they are. But in the middle of that match, I saw my wife start taking attention and start getting into it, and that's when I know, okay, these guys are doing something good, because by the end of that match, my wife was like, okay, that was all. And that alone proves to me that those two guys are their best at that. Because if you can get someone that's usually not about the brawling matches to get invested in one, you're doing your job.
Well, and a very stiff and physical match like we talked about. I mean, there was a lot of power moves. I mean, they showed their athleticism to the biggest level they could. I mean, these two are fantastic athletes. And, you talked about back in the day, I think we had a discussion on Sheamus one time, and here was a guy that just wanted a break. He wanted a shot in professional wrestling to do what he really loved. He came over from overseas. He got his opportunity, and he has earned, in a lot of ways, in my opinion, what he has right now. That's the U.S. Championship. He's always like in that top, realm of Raw, putting on good matches. I like Sheamus. I like him as a face. I think that he'd done his time as a heel, but I like where he's going with it. The crowd reacts to him. He's a good person behind the scenes with a lot of the charity events and a lot of the things with the people and stuff. I like it. This was a very good match. I would give this probably like 3.25 out of 4 stars. That's how good I thought this one was.
Yeah, it is definitely a really good match.
Absolutely. And you talked about the tag team match a moment ago with the Dusts taking on Uso brothers. Hey, when I say ooh, you say oh, okay? Oos!
Hello.
Oos!
Hello.
That was very good, Doug. You sound a bit more falsetto this weekend. I don't know, but
there you go.
No, but this was a good match as well too, and I predicted it. I said the Goldust and Stardust tag team would eventually win the tag team belts. They did it at Night of Champions. I thought it was a good match. It really was a decent match in terms of tag team because I'm a tag team wrestling fan. And the crowd, Doug, they were really getting into this match. I liked seeing the crowd get in to this type of match. I thought it was paced well. I thought the wrestling was good. I mean, you got 4 guys in there who are second and third generation wrestlers, and they did tremendous, tremendous work inside that ring.
Oh, it's fantastic. Every spot was hit perfectly. There wasn't a lot of left. There wasn't a lot of missed opportunities. It was all really well done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's weird.
And I said the Usos because I had picked every team against the Usos since April, and the Usos wound up winning. So this time I said, well, I'll go with the Usos, and they lost.
I know. I got the predictions right here. I know. I picked the Dust Brothers, baby. I did, and I'll tell you something else. I was really worried when they said a few months ago that there was a possibility of Stardust and Goldust breaking up around SummerSlam. I said, no. Keep them as a tag team. They will start to catch on with the fans. They will start to gel. They will become household names. And in my opinion, they did the right thing, keeping together as a tag team. They're now tag team champions, and they had a fantastic match at Night of Champions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. And, that's the thing I love. I mean, you talk about tag team wrestling, Doug. Some of the great teams, Rock and Roll Express, the Midnight Express, the Freebirds back in the day, any 2 members of the 4 Horsemen, the Fantastics. I mean, you talk about the Road Warriors for crying out loud, the Hart Foundation, the Killer Bees. All these tag teams that we grew up watching, they had a certain spunk about them, a certain amount of enigma that they possessed when they were inside the ring. And I really like the Dust Brothers. I hope they hold these belts for quite a long time. And to me, they don't even have to be killer heels out there. They can just be their own characters and let the people decide if they like them or not. That's what I like about this tag team.
Oh, that's definitely the route they're taking.
Yeah.
They're definitely tweeners.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff indeed. Okay, let's move on here. Let's go on with the next match here that I got on my screen. Dolph Ziggler and The Miz. This was interesting. I did not expect to see The Miz win, but if I thought he was going to win and I expected it and I saw it coming and whatever else, I did not expect the next night on Raw to see Dolph Ziggler retain the championship. I didn't think this match was all that great in my opinion. I'm not taking anything away from these guys. It just didn't seem like it flowed as well as the other matches on the card. Do you agree with me?
It was more about the stupid inclusion of the Florida Georgia Line guys, which was the stupidest thing. I mean, why are we spending more time on talking about them than the match going on? Because the match was a good match.
Yeah. Wasn't bad.
The stuff that the Miz Ziggler have been doing has been good in the ring. I don't care. Like I've been paying attention because I think the Miz shines on the microphone and his ring work sometimes is lacking, but he's been doing some really good stuff since he got back.
Yeah.
And he and Ziggler have a good repertoire with each other.
Good chemistry.
And I'm sitting there going, why are we panning back over these 2 guys? Why are we? What's going on? The funny thing was, as soon as Miz won, I looked at my wife, I looked at everybody that we were watching with, and I was like, $20, he loses it tomorrow night on Raw. And that's exactly what happened.
Wow, good bet. You should bet 100. But
Miz is notorious for when he wins the title on the pay-per-view, he loses it the next night on Raw.
Yeah.
This is like the fourth time this has happened.
You know, you're right about that. I thought about that when he did it on Monday night. I says, you know what? This is like deja vu. This is like the Scooby-Doo thing where you go back and and it just keeps happening with The Miz. And you know what? You made up a good point there about the Florida-Georgia line. To me, it really kind of took away. It was a big distraction. It took away from a very good match inside the ring. That's why I said it wasn't all that good to me, because of what was happening with the announcers. To me, it's like I wish the announcers would have concentrated on the match inside the ring, because there was some really good storytelling going on building up to this match at Night of Champions, because we talked about it on Raw for the past few weeks. I mean, it's really been going at. They've been putting this as a focal point on each Raw each and every week, and I thought that it kind of took away. That was my opinion. That's why I didn't rate it as much. But in terms of the actual wrestling match, I thought it was solid. I thought it was very good, and these two have had some very good Intercontinental Championship matches. If this extends for a while and this keeps going, this could easily be one of the feuds of the year that I've seen so far in 2014.
And see, I would like to see it go at least one more match, maybe a Hell in a Cell, but if we know anything from our SmackDown spoilers, it looks like Ziggler's going to get a new competitor going against him going forward.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's not such a bad thing, because to me it's like they've traded the belts a couple of times, and I think that they've had the blow-off match now maybe on Raw with Dolph Ziggler coming back and retaining it. And I don't know what's going to happen now with The Miz. I mean, do we see the Miz now character eventually dissolve away? Will they continue on with that? Could this be a way for Damian Sandow to get kicked to the curb a la Ted DiBiase and Virgil perhaps, and then we could possibly see Damian Sandow become a fan favorite? I mean, this would be a good stepping stone for him to elevate his career and his excellent charisma that he possesses every time I see him on TV. I love Sandow. I still do.
I do too, yeah. Monday night when he was sitting there mimicking every move The Miz was doing at ringside was one of the best things I have seen in a very long time. I like
that he had the toy version of the IC belt rather than an actual.
Yeah.
That cracked me up. I was sitting there watching. I'm going, he's got a Walmart version of the belt. That's hilarious. I loved it. I thought it was so good because Sandow, he's funny. The whole thing back when they were doing the Rhodes Scholar thing, even with that, is that you're welcome, and just the pompousness of him incorporated with some comedy. I think it's going to be good, and I'm predicting somewhere down the road very soon he will become his own character, and people start cheering this man for what he is, a good character and a very good wrestler inside the ring. So.
He's already getting love, buddy. He's already getting cheered.
Well, don't fear the love, like you said in the beginning of the show, right?
That's right. Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid of the love. Thank you, Lemmy. You can take a seat now. Lemmy, have a drink. Go ahead. There's some Jack Daniels in the corner there. That man has drank a bottle. He has drank a bottle of Jack Daniels every day of his life since he was like 30 years old, Lemmy. Do you believe that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I believe it.
Now he's drinking vodka. He's slowing down a bit. God bless Lemmy. I could talk about Lemmy all day. We should just, if Triple H would have not have called in earlier and requested Ace of Spades, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation. So thank you, Triple H. We appreciate it. Yeah. All right. Rusev and Mark Henry. This wasn't, anything spectacular, because I just think that they're good big man workers. There's no doubt about it. They're both good inside the ring. I just don't think that it really made the crowd get into it as much. I think the whole USA thing, the whole patriotism thing, it's good for a moment. It does make people take notice and kind of cheer and get into that moment. But for some reason, I just think this one fell a little bit flat, and I don't think it was any fault on the competitors inside the ring. I just don't think it really went any much further than that. I don't know. I don't have an answer for this one.
I thought it was all right. I definitely thought that Rusev should have won, and he did. So, for me, I thought the match was good for two big guys. And it did exactly what it needed to do, get us to another competitor. Actually, we're going to get probably Mark Henry is going to turn heel because he couldn't do what he was supposed to do. And, of course, everybody loves Mark Henry more as a heel, so I think it'll work out.
Yeah, Mark Henry and The Big Show are two guys that are just like, they're like the Lex Luger of the 2014 WWE. I mean, he could just turn these guys heel or face 17 times in 1 year, and it doesn't really matter, because as soon as they turn babyface, people love them again, And I got to say one thing about this feud. I think Rusev, in my opinion, I think he had better matches with Big E and Jack Swagger than he did with Mark Henry, and that just shows me that Rusev is a very good talent, and I think that I would like to see him now move on a little bit away from the whole Russia's #1 thing and move on to maybe something more move on to something less distracting of always incorporating Russia into the whole storyline. I think that if we kind of move away from that a little bit and just focus on his talent inside the ring, to me that would be better in my opinion. But either way, Rusev, a decent person, and Mark Henry for his size, two very good men inside the ring, big guys. But yeah, let's move on and see what happens with that one. Chris Jericho, Randy Orton.
I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
I'll say this about Rusev before we move on.
Yeah.
He's not going to drop the whole Russian thing until Snipe beats him. Yeah. And from what we know, Sheamus and the U.S. title are likely going to be the next feud for him.
I could see that.
And as much as it bothers me, for me, it only works if Rusev takes the U.S. title, and then someone has to beat him for the U.S. title.
Yeah.
Because there's this Russian guy representing the United States Championship. It's got to be some American that comes back and beat Sheamus.
Well, let's look back about almost 30 years ago. Shatota, Tony Schiavone, Nikita Koloff. Same thing, Nikita Koloff and Magnum TA. Terry Allen back in the day, the best of 7 series for the U.S. Championship, the Russian versus the American. Very reminiscent here, and I can see something happening with Sheamus, all not being the whole red-blooded American because he's not, American, but still he represents maybe America. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit of, bringing back the past, which I like because I think that Sheamus and Rusev, I think they could have some very good, hard-hitting, stiff matches that will actually make the people go ooh and ah when they're inside the ring. What do you think about that?
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. Give me something like that. I'm totally on board.
Yeah, Rusev is on fire. He's really being pushed to the capacity here, rightfully so. I like the way they kind of ended the Jack Swagger series. It made sense. Now move on. He goes past the whole thing now at Mark Henry. Now give him a title shot. Get him into the championship picture. I like where this is going. At least I hope that is where it's going. So let's go on to Randy Orton, Chris Jericho. What's your grade on this match?
Closest thing to a 4, I would have to say. 4, I would have to say like a 3.5 or a 4. It was perfect.
Yeah, it was. The only thing I think it took away from this match, Doug, is I wish they would have maybe in some ways had a little bit longer of a storyline, a little bit more of a past, so to speak, instead of just something out of the blue where, we saw Randy Orton attack him due to Chris Jericho's mouth running at one time on the highlight reel and everything else like that. I would have liked to seen it build up a little bit more, but for what it was worth and the substance in front of us with an actual wrestling match, I liked it a lot. Very good match.
Oh yeah, I don't know of any other match on the card Sunday night that was as good. It's probably the best match that was on the card, and it wasn't even for a title.
I know. Yeah. Well, it was good. I liked it. I think that now, do we see Chris Jericho taking some time away? And from what I understand, he'll be back relatively soon. What's your thoughts on that?
The Fozzy tour starts today.
Yes.
It's either today or tomorrow. So he's on tour with Fozzy until the middle of November.
Okay.
I wouldn't expect him to be back at Survivor Series or TLC, but very likely that he pops back in at Royal Rumble.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Royal Rumble, you always have those 2 or 3 guys who are big surprises that haven't been around for a while. They did it with Rob Van Dam, and they've done it with other people in the past. I like your call on that, Doug. I think that Royal Rumble would be a very perfect fitting for Chris Jericho. He gets himself back in ring shape, about a month or so before he goes and everything, and he always keeps himself in shape. Chris Jericho is a tremendous athlete, and he's just a great talent inside the wrestling ring. I always enjoy watching Chris Jericho. He does it all. He's one of my favorites.
One of my favorites.
Absolutely. We're going down to the ladies match here. Nikki Bella, AJ Lee, and Paige. We saw AJ Lee come out as the heavyweight, not the heavyweight. Excuse me. Let me try this again. I'm looking at my other notes off to the side. Looking at AJ Lee becoming the Divas champion. And to me, I think that with them swapping the belt back and forth, I have no problem with that. It adds some interesting formula to their feud that's going on. Did you like the outcome of AJ Lee winning the championship?
I love it. I actually predicted that on our Wrestling Rumors prediction page. I had AJ Lee via submission, and that's exactly what we saw. One of the things for me that went in, I was like, okay, well, Nikki Bella adds something to the match, and if I want AJ Lee and Paige are the 2 divas that matter in the company.
Right.
They're the ones that have the fan bases. They're the ones that are always being talked about. They're the best 2 women's wrestlers in the ring outside of Natalya and Charlotte. And they are incredibly charismatic. And they both are in this feud, and they've been feuding since June. And this is probably one of the long-term booking plans that we've seen for anybody, whether it's divas or not, in a very long time in the company, and I enjoy that. Give me 5 or 6 pay-per-view matches. I'm fine with that.
Sure.
Keep adding different elements.
Sure.
So I'm fine with it. I love it. I love where they're going. I love Paige's promo before. The video promo that she did was absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it was good.
It was so awesome.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
And I love I loved her on commentary on Monday. Like, she's just that feud is probably one of the most interesting things going on in WWE.
And I'm glad. I'm glad that we do have something involving the Divas, because sometimes
it wasn't a bathroom break.
No,
exactly. I mean, it's so interesting that it's not a bathroom break match anymore.
Right. It is something that you really look forward to, because these two ladies, Paige and AJ Lee, they can really wrestle and they get very physical. And it reminds you back in the day of, like a Sherry Martel match, the craziness involved, Rock and Robin, maybe a Leilani Kai or a Fabulous Moolah or something like that. I mean, there's a lot of talent here with the Divas, and I like that they're focusing on it. And I'm really glad that they did incorporate Nikki Bella into this match. And people say, well, it didn't make any sense, but it did focus on the match between AJ Lee and Paige in terms of their feud.
Right.
And now we see AJ Lee come out with the championship, doing that little bit of a tension there. There's a lot of things they can go on with this. And I think that if they do this the right way and really start to open up the Divas division, I'm looking forward to it, because I like to see good wrestling. If it's good wrestling, I don't care if it's female, male, midgets, tag team, whatever, 3-man, 6-man. If it's good wrestling, I want to watch it and I want to enjoy it. And like you said, I'm enjoying this feud in this division so far. So that's good.
It's one of the only things WWE is giving us consistently to latch on to.
Yeah.
So that's why I think long-term booking is good. And with these two girls, and even with Nikki Bella held her own in the ring. Like, she's not awful in the ring now.
No, not at all.
It's just her mic work. It's just her mic work that's absolutely terrible. Both of them, both Bellas are just awful on the microphone. And I think the only thing in that match that was bad, I mean, I'd have to give that match a 3 out of 4. The only thing that was bad in that match was the one spot where they said, "Are you ready? 1, 2, 3," and then they went.
Yeah.
That was outrageous.
Yeah, that happens.
But
that happens.
The rest of the match was great.
Yeah. We got about 2 minutes left in the show here, and then after we take a break here with Doug, we're going to go and take a small break. We're going to come back with an awesome interview with a longtime friend of mine, KoKo Ware. That's right, the Birdman, baby.
Birdman!
Oh, yeah, do the bird. Come on, Frankie. Come on, Frankie. Come on, baby. Woo! Woo! Do the bird. Yeah, he's going to be here. We're going to be talking to him on the phone here, live via telephone, via satellite, if you will. So let's go ahead and run this down here really quick. We saw John Cena, Brock Lesnar. The fans were thinking, oh, my God, it looks like Cena's going to win the championship here. Bam, out of nowhere, here comes Seth Rollins to kind of, stomp out that cigarette butt, so to speak. And we saw Brock Lesnar retain the championship, which I think was the right move. And to me, this also gives a little bit of credibility and a little bit of a rub to John Cena as keeping him in the picture as, being a really credible and good competitor for the heavyweight championship and being in the main event status. I mean, right now, it's some of the injuries and some of the people that they don't have programs with right now. I thought for what it was worth, to me, it was a good match. It was good storyline telling, and it was a good outcome. I liked the outcome. I thought it was good, in my opinion.
I did too. A lot of people disagree. I'm not going to drink that Kool-Aid. Safest thing the company could have done.
Yeah.
Keeps John Cena as a credible foe.
Yeah.
It instantly inserts Seth Rollins, briefacase or not, into the main event picture.
Yep. Absolutely.
And then, of course, Brock Lesnar retains the title, which is what we wanted. The storytelling in the match, they were a little sloppy, but whatever. The outcome's what we all wanted to get to, and that's what we saw. And I enjoyed it. And I thought they opened Raw the next night exactly how they needed to. Yeah.
And, the other thing, too, is that it really elevates Dean Ambrose into that main event picture now, too, with the absence of Roman Reigns. Instantly, like you said, it really brought him into that picture by having the beginning of Raw start out with Dean Ambrose. That was like, wow, I like that. That was good. That's me saying, okay, the WWE is recognizing the talent that they have in Dean Ambrose and all the other guys who have been elevated and shot to superstardom here in the last couple of months, that they really now decided, okay, Dean Ambrose has to be a grade A player and really get him involved. And to me, this was the best way to do it because it can go any which way you want to against Seth Rollins, still having that tension with John Cena. There's a lot of things that can happen here. I'm excited to see where they're going to go with this going into Survivor Series and into TLC. There's some good wrestling, I think, ahead of us, guys. Just hang on, enjoy the ride, and we'll see what happens. And with that, Doug, unfortunately, we're at that 5:30 mark here on the Pacific time zone. We got to move on, but I'll leave you with the next 30 seconds. Go ahead and close it out for us.
Yep. I'll tell you straight up, man. I'm looking forward to where we're going to get to around Royal Rumble time. I'm still kind of weary about the fall, and I'll tell you that because I still feel like creative has no idea what they're doing. They actually they scrapped their script leading into Raw Monday night, and we're actually writing the script as the show went along, and it showed. Raw was going against the debut of Gotham, the return of Sleepy Hollow, Monday Night Football, the season premiere of Big Bang Theory, and Dancing with the Stars, and they got the lowest rating of the year.
Yeah, well, a lot of competition there.
Because they didn't have, I mean, literally the opening segment was awesome. The six-man tag was awesome. And the rest of the show kind of lacked a good bit because creative was just all over the place. It wasn't that great. And it showed that you don't have your champion on there the next night after a pay-per-view, probably not the best idea. And even though you kicked it off with the people that needed to kick it off, it worries me for the fall because I quit. Like, Brock Lesnar may not even be at Hell in a Cell in 4 weeks. May not even work pay-per-view. So I'm kind of concerned if they're going to throw John Cena into Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins feud, or if John Cena is going to work his 1,267th match with Randy Orton at this Hell in a Cell. It's one of those things where creative has no idea where to go with the main event picture until they figure out what they're doing with Brock Lesnar, and that's an issue. I think until they get that stuff figured out, we're not going to be able to invest in anything other than Divas feuds and mid-card feuds.
Well, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. They have been in the business for a long time. I'm sure they'll work something out here now that they have a clean slate to deal with here with some of the injuries and some of the changes they've had. So with that, Doug McDonald from WrestlingRumors.net. Go check out the website. Make it a part of your Facebook news feed. It's always a great place to go to get all the late-breaking news and stories on WrestlingRumors.net. Check it out. And as usual, Doug, it's been a pleasure, man. We'll talk to you next week, and thanks for joining us, man.
As always, brother. I'll catch you on the next one.
Sounds good. Good show, buddy. Take care. All right, there you go, Doug McDonald, good friend of mine. And like I said, go check it out, WrestlingRumors.net. Always a great place to go. We'll take a short break here. We're going to come back with KoKo Beware the Birdman right here on Off the Top Rope Radio. Do not go away.
Are you having plumbing or septic problems? No worries. Call Cartwright's Queen Creek Plumbing and Septic Service. Been in the Valley since 1996. Family owned and operated. Proudly serving East Valley and surrounding areas. With a full range of services from drain cleaning, septic tank pumping, general maintenance and repairs, inspections for the sale of your home. They provide excellent and courteous service for all your plumbing and septic needs. We're not satisfied till you are satisfied. Licensed, bonded, and insured. Call today. Cartwright's Queen Creek Plumbing and Septic Service. Contact Denise at 480-987-8051. That's 480-987-8051.
All right, we're back here at Off the Top Rope Radio on KQCK, heard exclusively and worldwide on KQCK.com. Santan Valley, Arizona, Off the Top Rope Radio. Brian Shank hanging with you here. Got a fantastic show going so far. We just ran down all the results and the information about Night of Champions, a very good pay-per-view by the WWE. And now we're ready to bolt into a very great interview Can I say very great? Well, you know what? I just did. So a great interview with a longtime friend of mine, someone who has thrilled the audience in Mid-South, Memphis, Nick Goulas territory, the WWE. You talk about talent. You talk about excitement. You talk about entertainment. He is the man. He is the Birdman. We're talking about KoKo B. Ware. KoKo, how you doing, my friend?
Man, I'm doing great. How you doing, fella?
Excellent, man. It's good to hear your voice. We had a chance to catch up the other day and talk about some of the issues going on in the world and some fellow friends of ours and some of the people that we've known and loved and grew to like and hate over the years. And it was just good hearing your voice, man. I'm glad that you're doing well out there. Tell us what's up with the Birdman here lately.
Man, I'm telling you, I'm still floating around, visiting different little wrestling events and stuff, and checking out my little birds, and they making sure they're all been fed and they look all healthy and stuff like that. And just having a great time. Still got my my house painting going on that I do through the week, and that's going on real good, and the Birdman is still in church. In fact, I'm a musician now. I play lead guitar in the church.
Wow.
My church is New Shelby Missionary Baptist Church in Carreiro, Tennessee.
Wow.
And man, I'm just kind of busy.
You are rocking and rolling, strutting and strolling, vocalizing and socializing. That's what you're doing, my friend. I'm telling you right now, you're keeping busy.
Man, I'm trying to tell you, man. Hey, I give it all to God. He give me the energy to do all this, and without Him, I would never could have made it.
Amen, brother. There's a lot of people who live in your area where you're at. There, you want to give a shout out with your business. If anybody ever wants to get a hold of you or something, do you want to give the information about your painting business?
Yeah, they can just get over to the Mid-South Professional Painting Company, and that's me, the Mid-South Professional Painting Company again. And then I can't give out my number on the air, I don't believe. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a business number, but.
Yeah. No, we'll just leave it like that. Mid-South Painting Company, I like it. You talk about.
Mid-South Professional Painting.
Professional painting. I knew there was a word missing there. I'm glad you said that. Mid-South Professional Painting. And, I've been hearing a rumor, KoKo, that you painted somebody's house. He didn't like when you gave him the bill, and I heard you gave him a Ghostbuster right there on the scaffold. Is that true? I just want to, make sure that there's no rumors floating around here.
No, that's not true. Frankie told that lie. Frankie's running around telling lies on me and stuff like that. But that was a story came from Frankie. Okay, but I can't do my customers that way. I got some great customers and stuff like that, and you'd be happy with the Birdman's work.
Nice. I like it. I'm surprised you didn't call it something like Birdman Painting or something, because that's kind of catchy, but I do like what you said there, the Mid-South Professional Painting. I'm glad that you're doing well. I'm glad that you're doing something that you enjoy, because, let's face it, when you can make something look beautiful like that, a buddy of mine owns his own painting business in Illinois. He loves what he does. He likes being his own boss. He enjoys meeting new people and making new customers and whatnot, and I'm sure that with your background in professional wrestling, I'm almost positive you always have a few stories to tell with your customers out there.
Oh, man, it's never a dull moment. I'm just tickle pink over my customers and stuff. They make me happy and stuff like that, and I love to see the big smile on their face when I finish their work, and they're, especially the wife or the kids and stuff, man. I'm not too much worried about the dad and stuff like that, because he got to front the bill. But the wives and the kids and stuff, I said, Mom, I love my room. Golly, it's beautiful. Beautiful cool. Pink room.
That's nice.
Beautiful blue room and stuff like that, and when you put the smile on her face, the job is done. It's over with. Hey, stick a fork in it.
That's cool. You've been putting smiles on people's faces for many years. I remember when you debuted in the World Wrestling Federation back in the day, mid-'80s. You were unlike anybody else. I mean, coming out with Frankie, the beautiful parrot, all the different colors, the blue and the yellow and the green and everything, and the flashy wardrobe you had, and the colored hair, and the headbands and everything, the glasses. I mean, you just tore it up, man. You always got the fans going. You are a true entertainer, KoKo, and I'm telling you something right now. Not a lot of people could hold a candle to you back in those days, and I'll tell you, those days were pretty special because if you had a situation like you did with such a great character who could actually wrestle and have success, that was a great thing.
Yeah, and
back then you had to be a little different, special for me. I wasn't born with the height and all of that, And in fact, I believe my mother and them kept me in a little short bed or something. I don't know. My brother, he grew. He's a little taller than me and stuff like that. But I just thank God I was able to entertain the wrestling fans out there all over the world. Man, it just and that's something that they really like. They really just like me for that reason, and it just took off. And even with the Bird Frankie, with the color that he was and stuff, and I had to get myself together to match Frankie because he's already had his colors and stuff, and they was beautiful. And I said, well, man, let me go Hollywood too, man, because Frankie was born Hollywood, so I had to go Hollywood also. Yeah. And it turned out to be a successful and I just want to thank all the wrestling fans out there that really, really took a liking to us, and I really appreciate all the effort, the hard work, the screaming and yelling and all that stuff, and man, it paid off. In fact, it paid off that they screamed and yelled so much over the years. Don't you know that God bless their heart? I end up being in the Hall of Fame of the WWE.
Wow, tremendous. That's a great honor. Not a lot of people can say they're in that Hall of Fame, and for someone like yourself, I think it was 2009, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah, 2009. And, the thing about, you talked about your career in the WWE back in the day, it was at a time when the WWE was very much filled with characters. I mean, you had yourself, you had the model Rick Martel. I mean, you had Hercules, you had the $1 Million Man, and the Natural Butch Reed. I mean, there was so many people back in the day who were very character laden, and you depended on that. That was something that you were known for. They knew when KoKo Ware was going to come down the ring that he had Frankie with him, that he had the loud outfits, that he had the colored hair and everything. And that was, to me, such a great time in professional wrestling because with all that aside, with the characteristics and the personalities, you guys could wrestle. And that was something that really spoke for itself. We talked about the Ghostbuster, the finishing move you had, all the high flying. I mean, you were one of the best drop kickers I've seen in the day. I mean, you get up there quite high. And some of the best matches, Superstars and Challenge and Wrestling Spotlight and All-American Wrestling and Prime Time. I mean, you were on all those shows, and you were such a household name along with all those other people I mentioned. And that was just a great time in wrestling, in my opinion.
Well, we all paved the way, and right, we paved the way for the young fellas today, and like I say, everything is different now. I mean, I open the doors for guys like the shorter guys. I really open the doors for them, and they can't say a little guy don't have a chance, but a little guy has just as much chance as a big fellow now, and so you can prove that by me. I can, and then now you can prove it by Rey Mysterio and stuff like that. All the high flyers and stuff. The guys coming from Mexico City, and it just gave after my little deal, it just gave them a chance to really go in. Now I can go in there and I can fly off the top rope. I can fly out of the out of the ring. Yeah, I can fly out of the ring, out on the floor, and land on my opponent and stuff like that. I can do everything now. I can have ladder matches, and so we could just do all kind of incredible things. People never seen before. All kind of moves. And who created that? Who started off as the Birdman, KoKo Ware. Oh man! And I am so glad that I was there to help open it up for the young fellas. I know you had your Hulk Hogan's, your Andre the Giants, and all that. Those are big guys, and those guys they didn't have to do all that high flying. Their size was intimidating enough, but our little character, we had to do a little more extra. I had to do a little more extra, and to really to be outstanding. I'm talking about to be on the Hulk Hogan level, be on the Andre the Giant, the Paul Orndorffs, and golly, just the Bob Orton,
Butch Reed
there, Butch Reed, and stuff like that. You know, to be on that level, I had to be outstanding. Where they said, "Wow, I didn't think this little fella could do that," and man, I shocked the world.
You know, and you talked about it too. And by the way, we're speaking with KoKo Ware right here, the Birdman on Off the Top Rope Radio, with Brian Shank hanging with you here on KQCK Radio. And you made a really good point there. You said you opened up the door for some of the smaller guys. And, you know, most recently, someone who I really think that had to have watched you and probably deemed you someone as an icon in his day, I mean, Daniel Bryan. I mean, you look at what he did, really captured the audience by his wrestling ability. Not the biggest guy in the world. I think he stands about 5'9", maybe about 185 pounds, you know, something like that. Unfortunately, out with a neck injury, and his championship run was cut short due to health problems, which you've sustained many injuries inside the ring over the years. But that's a great point. You mentioned Rey Mysterio as well. I mean, you can even talk about people like Psychosis and whatnot and go back to the Lucha Stars. But that's a good point, too. You know, these are the guys that I think realized, hey, if people like KoKo and Shawn Michaels, who are not the biggest guys, can go out there and do it with their talent that they were given by God above, why can't I do it? I like that point.
Oh, yeah. That's all it is. I mean, just, you know, and I tell you, even the fans, without the fans there, Brian, I'm telling you, I wouldn't have made it.
Yeah.
And they the ones that just gave me that inspiration and that the screaming and the yelling and stuff. Man, I'm talking about, they made me to be that Andre the Giant, that Hulk Hogan, those big guys. You know, they made me.
Right.
The fans made me to be that person. Wow. You know, and just the same as if Hulk Hogan walked out, you know, the people just love me, to just applaud for me big time and was special. You know, when I can get on the top rope and drop kick a guy off the top second or our top rope, and land on my feet.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I want the young generation to concentrate on all. I want all the young generation wrestlers that's drop kicking. I want you all to. I'm putting out a special challenge to all the wrestlers, the WWE wrestlers, to all the independent circuit wrestlers and stuff like that. All the whole world over in Hong Kong, if you can hear us, if you can understand us, in Tokyo, in Italy, in Japan. I mean, again, in Brazil,
Deutschland,
in Australia, New Zealand, Africa,
Germany,
everywhere. If you can, I'm sending this message out. I want you all to be able to drop kick your opponent off the top or second rope and land on your feet.
Yeah.
Not on your back, not on your stomach. Land on your feet.
I like it.
Man, that's incredible. That makes you devastating. That makes that move more devastating than anything. That you are a pure athlete when you can drop kick a man and land on your feet and ready to drop kick him again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Who are some of the people that you worked around with and traveled with all those days? Who else could do that? Was Owen Hart one of those kind of people?
No, Owen he was a high flyer, but Owen could drop kick, but he could never do that. And that just takes a lot of practice.
Wow.
Doing that. I mean, even another great drop kicker that I recall, Jim Brunzell.
Oh, yeah. Good friend of mine. Real good friend of mine.
Jim Brunzell he was an excellent drop kicker.
Yes, he was.
I believe sometimes Jim Brunzell got higher than me.
Probably so. You guys were both.
Yeah, I mean, he could really jump and get up there, man.
Hey, but I just thought of something, KoKo. You mentioned Jim Brunzell. And you mentioned yourself. That would be the bird and the bee. I like it. Bird and the bee.
Bird, there you go.
Hey, the old wheels are turning, let me tell you.
Right.
Yeah. No, Jim Brunzell, an excellent talent. You talk about the athleticism taking place inside the ring. That's why I always said that, Tito Santana told me one time. He said, on the marquee, Brian, it says wrestling. And I said, you know what? That is one of the greatest 5-second quotes I ever heard, because when you look at it, it has to be about what's taking place inside the ring. I mean, the gimmicks and the outfits and the songs and the dancing and everything else, I mean, that is going to add to your character. But you just talked about it. If you can do what you need to do inside the ring and let your talent speak for itself, I mean, that's gold.
Right. And and Tito is right. It says, the marquee said professional wrestling.
Yep.
And and then that means that, hey, we are all professionals, and we have to act accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
That we are professional wrestlers.
Right on.
And that means we can wrestle. Mm-hmm. We can get down and wrestle. The name of wrestling is put different hopes on different guys, mm-hmm. and making them give up.
Yeah.
It's kind of almost like a collegiate style of wrestling. Mm-hmm. But professional wrestling is a little more. It's got that little entertaining. And see, that's where I am. That was me. I was the entertainer. Okay, how you doing? I laugh and talk and play around, and then also I could get down on the mat and wrestle. Also,
right? Sure.
I could wrestle. I could try to we could put different hopes on you. I could put different hopes on you, mm-hmm. and stuff like that. And then I can go back to my gimmick, which was the Birdman. Hey, all right, and dancing and coming out with it and stuff like that.
Right.
But I can also wrestle too. And Ric Flair, I want to say too. Ric Flair was another. He was another legend. That was a great entertainer when he wanted to, and he also was a great wrestler.
Mm-hmm. Woo! The Nature Boy.
He could break it down. He do the entertaining coming out and stuff like that. He struts his stuff, but when Ric Flair, it's time for him to go to work.
Yeah,
he was like a machine.
Yep.
He was like that bunny rabbit. You could give him a licking, but he kept on ticking.
He was the original Timex spokesman, let's put it that way.
Yes.
That's a great point, man. You talk about Ric Flair. I just saw Ric Flair in July here. I know he just went through some he just had some surgery done here, so we do hope that he's doing quite well. We'll see him back on TV soon. But yeah, great point. Ric Flair is somebody who can go on. If you ever get a chance, go on YouTube and just watch Terry Taylor's, I think it's like a 2-minute story about Ric Flair when he wrestled him in the Superdome there in Louisiana. And it was just a tremendous story by Terry Taylor.
Well, you know what? I got a chance to wrestle Ric Flair for the world belt right here in Memphis, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
The first black, I hate to use say that, but one of the first black Americans that wrestled a world title match here in Memphis, Tennessee, mm-hmm. and what an incredible match that we had.
Yeah,
we went 25 minutes or more or better.
Is that the only time you wrestled him? Did you wrestle him more than that, or was it just the one time?
That was just that one time, mm-hmm. And you know what? It felt like a whole. In fact, sometimes I can feel the pains now that after the match and stuff that I went through, because he gave me the workout, and I really appreciate it. I tell you what, he made me better. He made me better than I was.
Nice. That's good to hear. I like to hear the props go out like that, and I think Ric Flair would be humbly appreciative of that comment there. And yeah, I mean, Flair is a talent of his own. I mean, I think Flair actually quit 2 times before he finally decided to stick it out with the Vern Gagne camp back in the day. I'm glad he did, because I would have hated to have known what this world would have been at without Ric Flair, the Nature Boy. And even for that matter, KoKo B. Ware. Was there ever a time, KoKo, that you thought, with your training and what you were going through and how you were getting into professional wrestling, was there ever a time where you thought about maybe this isn't for me, it's too hard, I don't know if I can continue? Or was it always like, hey, this is what I should do, this is what I want to do, this is what I need to be doing, and I'm going to keep making it until I hit the top?
No, I was, Brian, I'll tell you, Brian, I was dedicated.
Mm-hmm.
I love this business.
Nice.
I was a wrestling fan, and my parents gave me money to go see the professional wrestling every Thursday night, and I was dedicated. I mean, and then I already made my mind up. Hey, man, that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a professional because I was wrestling. I think I wrestled every kid in the school, man. I used to get in trouble with my parents. They go buy me a new pair of jeans and stuff like that, and then all the grass stains and then the knees and tore. I got in trouble big time for that.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to wrestle.
Yeah.
And you know what? And that dream came true, man. Nice. But I started out as a big wrestling fan.
Nice.
You know, and you know what? And I took it, and I got the opportunity. And I got in, and I didn't stop, man. I didn't stop. Looked like God was just blessing me, just like, wow, okay, you doing this right now. Okay, we're going to move you on up a little bit further. And then we're going to move you on up a little bit further and stuff like that, you know. And the next thing you know, man, I was big time. Awesome. I was big time, and praise God, I was big time, but I never got a big head.
Nice.
I never got a big head and thought I was better than my little people, than my friends and my relatives and all my buddies that really knew me from coming up from with the school with and all that. I never let that get to next to me at all. I never did get the big head and thought I was better than everybody.
That's awesome.
Because you know what? We're not, man. We're not better than everybody. We just gotta break on an easy job, something that we love to do to entertain,
right,
and stuff like that. But you shouldn't take this business as a really, take it where people can say he ain't the same person. Mm-hmm. He's stuck up. He don't talk like he used to. He ain't got much to say. He don't come around like he used to.
Yeah,
and all that stuff like that. You hurt the ones. And the old saying goes, the people that you met going up to the top,
yep,
you're going to meet those same people on your way down.
That's right. I think Jackie Gleason once said that with pride, and he was right, and so are you. And I love the passion and the gratitude that you have for your fellow comrades in this business. I think that was a tremendous story. KoKo, we only got about 3 or 4 minutes left in the show. I want to try to hit on a few things here. This is something I was going to bring up later on the program, but back in the day, around 95, 96, you and I both had dipped our feet into the American Wrestling Federation pool, the AWF back in the day. It was run by the promoter and owner Paul Alperstein. He was a Chicago native, I think more so in Skokie, Illinois, and he passed away this past Thursday at the age of 58. He had a series of strokes over the years. He has not been in good health. He was also battling MS from what I heard. The reports are that he did pass away from a heart attack. The one thing I remember about Paul is that he, like you talked about there the last few minutes, having a passion and being a fan of this business. Paul was the same way. He loved wrestling. He had such a passion for it. He had an opportunity to run his own promotion and to do what he wanted to do, and bringing in people like yourself, Tony Atlas, Hercules, Bob Orton, Tito Santana, Sergeant Slaughter, Greg Valentine, Tommy Rich. I mean, I can go on and on with some of the people. Chris Adams, for instance, the Samoans. It was a really sad thing I heard about that, because about 2 months ago or so, out of the blue, he sent me a Facebook message and said, I watched your show. It was very good. I enjoyed it. Give me a call sometime. Let's talk. And, I feel really bad because I never did call him, and it wasn't for any other reason except that we all get busy in life, and that we just don't always take a moment and say, okay, what do I got to do today besides doing the things that I have to do today? What do I want to do? And I wish I would have called. I wish we could have, reminisced about the old days, the AWF. What were your memories of the AWF? Because it was an interesting promotion, the round system. A lot of the legends who found a home with the AWF for a couple of years. What do you remember about the AWF?
Well, I tell you, it was another, feather in my hat. it was really good that I was a part of the AWF, and I really I knew Paul. Got to know Paul. Not as well as I wanted to meet him. To get to know him and stuff like that. And I saw things that Paul was doing in the AWF that I didn't think that he was ready for.
Yeah.
For that, that he was moving too fast, and he was bringing in big talent, and I know these guys was kind of expensive.
Oh, sure.
And I seen it went down. It went down after a while. I mean, but much as Tony Atlas and I, we was tag team partners there. God bless Tony. I love him, man. He's a great guy. And Tito Santana and Sergeant Slaughter would think they was kind of helping Paul out and stuff like that. And but it was just something. It was something, Brian. That you can't, you when you get in this business, you can't start off like a WWE.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah.
There's no way unless you had some big backers behind you. Right. A lot of people, and that's only one thing that I wish Paul could have just. But he was so hungry and so he loved the business so much.
Yep.
And I know that he went through a whole lots of money.
Yep.
That he lost lots of money.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I hated it for him because I could see him bringing in. And there's nothing wrong with bringing in everybody. I know they everybody loved that. It was somewhere to go. But you could have waited and had a few guys and build yourself up, and then bring some more guys in and stuff like that. Now, I'm gonna say this, Brian. This is. I'm speaking the truth on this. With everything I say, I don't want to. It's not going to be a lie or anything like that. It's going to be real, okay? Because that's what KoKo be Ware. That's all he is. He's real. He's going to tell it like it is. Brian, I never, of all of my life, being in professional wrestling, I never saw this happen in my life that a promoter would pay the fans to come in. Yeah. And cheer for the guys, cheer yay, boo, or whatever. I mean, and that was like over $30,000 right there that he was buying fans to come in and sit down for our TV show.
Yeah, the TV tapings. No, you're right about that, and that is true, and that did happen. And I remember I had some really good talks with Paul because I worked with him a little bit, and there was some ideas we were going to do and whatnot, and I had him on our show back in the day, and he basically told me near the end there, he says, Brian, I took a bath. He says I went too far, too much, too soon. I wanted to be the next Vince McMahon, so to speak. It didn't work out, the paying the audience, bringing in actors to do what they did. It was too much, too soon, too big. Like you said, the price tags were high. Totally agree with you. And he was also one that said the same thing. He agreed. He wished he could turn back time.
We try to tell him, and at this point, there was no hope.
Yeah.
I mean, and then all of a sudden, then when the ship sunk, well, everybody that got the big money, they jumped off the ship. Yeah. And jumped in a little bitty boat, and they made it to the shore. Mm-hmm. And Paul was left out there on that big old ship by himself. Yeah. And he drowned it.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a shame.
And God bless his heart, and I feel sorry for his father, because my understanding that his father put up the money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that Paul was using his father's money, and then his father finally stopped, say, "Hey, nothing's enough. You done spent way too much money here."
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yep.
And I'm just telling it like it is, and that's what, and a lot of the fans out there wondering what happened to the AWF. Well, wrestling fans, promoters, y'all need to take a heat of that. Don't get too big.
Right.
Don't get too big too soon in this wrestling business.
Right.
Because you can't be like WWE. Because WWE started out small too.
Mm-hmm. Sure did.
You got to remember, everybody's got to start out small.
Yep.
I remember the time that WWE that was paying on USA Network, they was paying them for wrestling, to have wrestling on their network.
Yeah.
Now it's the other way around.
Oh yeah, TV is huge. That's
it's the other way around now.
Yeah.
That but all the wrestling promoters out there, I mean, run your wrestling and stuff like that, but don't shoot yourself in your own foot.
Right. Exactly.
Don't do that.
Yep. Yeah. Back in the day with the territories, man, it was like, you knew your territory, you knew where your bread was buttered, and you did that, and you made it happen. Vince McMahon had an idea, he had a vision, he went with it, and it happened. But again, like you said, they started small, they worked themselves up. Now they're the biggest wrestling company in the business today, and multi-billion-dollar business and everything else. So that's a great point.
Nobody can touch them, Brian.
Right.
You can't touch them at all.
Yeah.
The other wrestling, in fact, you know what? As far as the WWE concerned, there is no other wrestling in the world but WWE.
Right.
There's nobody else.
Yep.
They're bigger than light.
Yep. That's true.
That you can't compete with them.
Right.
And when you start getting this business, just remember that stay in a little small pond. Mm-hmm. You survive a lot longer.
You got that right. KoKo, that was a great analogy about that. And we got just a couple more minutes left, but what I want to do is I always like to do this. It's always fun. Get your first comment, your first an inkling of what you want to say. I'm going to give you a few questions here, and the very first thing that pops in your head, I want you to give me that as your answer, okay?
All right.
Here we go. If I had 10 minutes to spend with anybody, living or dead, that person would be?
Tito Santana.
Yeah? Wow. Tell us why.
Because, was you talking about the wrestling or your personal life?
No, just anybody living or dead. Anybody at all. It could be anybody from Elvis Presley to,
okay.
Jiminy
okay,
Cricket.
okay. All right, I thought you was talking more about the wrestlers. The wrestling industry of it.
Yeah.
No, my wife, Joyce Ware.
Oh, that's very nice. Yeah, I know you lost her to a battle of cancer about 5 years ago.
5 years ago, Brian.
Yeah, 5 years ago, September. It was shortly after the induction of you in the Hall of Fame. So, yeah, that is and I didn't ask that question for that. I mean, honestly, I didn't have that as a setup for you. I just I think that's a tremendous answer. That's very touching. Now, in terms of wrestling, you said Tito Santana. That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Tell us why, Tito. Tell us why.
Because Tito was when I met him, man, we just looked like it was just a natural thing to do. We just fell in love with each other, and we could understand each other, and we got a chance to wrestle against each other once, and as two good guys. And I think I was sick that night, and Tito won for some reason. I don't know. I can't remember that. I slipped on a banana peel or something. But anyway,
that's awesome.
But no, he's just a great man, just like a brother to me and stuff like that. And me and him used to talk about a lot of different things, and I'm so glad that he's doing great.
Yeah.
He's still in New Jersey, and he's got his
hair salon.
fact, him and his wife have got a hair salon over there, and I think Tito is teaching school.
Yep, sure is.
And everything, and he's doing great. I mean, and you know what? If you see Tito today, he haven't changed a bit body wise and everything.
He looks great, man. He does. He does. Yeah.
Yes, and he's just really I say a blood brother from a different mother.
Right on.
Man, he's a great friend, and there's a lot more of them. You know, Jimmy Hart is another one.
Yeah, cool.
And the list can go on and on, but Tito is my main, the one I love to see him more often. But when we do see each other, it's like a big family reunion.
Love it. Love it. Well, you know, and you talk about Tito being a brother of a mother of a different color. I mean, that's what I look at. I mean, Tito's a great guy, and he's somebody who you can really look up to as a wrestler, as a man, as a family person. Like you said, the hair salon, him teaching school, bilingual, very intelligent of the business and just in life. I like it. Now, let me ask you a question, because I've had Tito on the show numerous times, and we talked about when him and Rick Martel were Strike Force, and we brought this up, and I want to hear your comments. What would you have thought if at the time when they broke up Strike Force, and of course Rick Martel went on to become the model, the big heel and everything else, would it have worked just as good if Tito Santana would have been the one who broke away as a heel and became the model Tito Santana?
I believe so, because you know what, both of those guys, they're good looking guys, and in fact they still nice looking and stuff like that. And it would have worked either way.
Yeah. I would have liked to have seen that. If I could just go back in time and change it, I would have loved to have seen. But I think that when Tito told me his explanation, I think he said he wanted to go ahead and try the heel thing, but because of his crossover with the Hispanic population and the fans, it just made more sense to keep him as the babyface like they did. And I think that was probably a good move. And I think Rick Martel played the model off to the T. I thought his character was brilliant. I loved it.
Oh, yeah, Rick was fantastic with that. I mean, that gave Rick another shot in the arm and stuff.
Sure
I got a chance to wrestle with Rick.
Yeah, WrestleMania.
In the WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Man, we had an outstanding match and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah. Okay, next
and once
question.
Again,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, KoKo.
Pardon me?
I thought you stopped. I beg your pardon. Go ahead.
And once again, I wrestled Rick Martel in WrestleMania right there. I think Toronto, I believe.
Yeah, WrestleMania 6.
But once again, man, I'm always sick when I lose a match. Either the fans throwing banana peelings in the ring, or somehow I'm always slipped up and they end up getting 1, 2, 3 on me for some reason.
Yeah.
But just straight out on my great day, on a real good day, Rick Martel can't beat KoKo Beware.
All right. I like that. Confidence. I like it. It's oozing. I can smell it from here, the confidence in you. I like that. All right. One last question, KoKo, before we go, because we do have to wrap things up here. I like this question because it's always interesting to hear what they say. If I was going, this is you talking, this is KoKo Beware talking. If I was going to the electric chair for a crime I committed and the warden told me I had one last meal, I would sit down and gorge myself on?
I guess it would probably be a big old fat steak, I guess.
Nice. We've had so many people say steak.
You know what? No, let me back up.
Okay.
Let me back that up. My last meal that I will be talking to Jesus.
Ah. Yeah. Well, you need some forgiveness maybe and some guidance and some...
Yes, be asking God for forgiveness and everything, and I will be eating God up.
I like it.
Please save me. Think about me when Judgment Day come, and all this stuff, and take care of my kids and take care of my friends and my family and all that, and just and I know I'm going to be punished for what I done. Especially I knew I done something wrong. But I would be eating God up.
That's a tremendous answer. I've never heard anybody give that. I heard steak, I've heard lobster, I've heard burgers and fries and ribs and everything else, but I think that was tremendous, and what a way to end the show, KoKo. I'll tell you right now, it's been an honor. It's been a privilege to have you on. You know, you're an old friend of mine. We go back quite a ways. I'm glad that we got a chance to get back in touch with each other here and talk, and I look forward to just shooting you a call from time to time, and you as well with my number. You know, if you ever want to talk about anything in life or wrestling or whatever, I think that we're always there for each other.
All right, and I appreciate you, Brian, man. You're a gentleman and a scholar, man, and you're an icon of the radio business and stuff like that. You got the voice is just as almost good as Howard Finkel, but you're outstanding. Just keep up and give yourself credit, Brian. That hey, you are the best DJ, commentator on a radio station in the world. Wow. You are the best.
Wow.
You are the best.
That you have no idea how much I appreciate hearing that, especially from you, sir. I thank you very much for those comments. I'm humbled.
I just want to say, just put yourself as number one. There's no other radio station in the country. There's no but my own, and I'm the best.
Thank you.
Commentator in the world.
Thank you.
Well, put yourself over because you are.
Thank you.
Do it. Who's gonna? If you don't do it, Brian, who's gonna do it for you?
Amen, brother. I hear you. You know what? That's an awesome thought of the day, and you boosted my level of confidence and humbleness up above anybody, and I really, really thank you for those kind words. That was very nice of you to say, and I
want to say this for the closing. I want to say this for closing, Brian, and you can have it. To all my fans, or if you're not my fans, but all the people all over the world.
Yes.
Listen to what I'm about to say. To all the people all over the world, you are a star. You are a star. We just have different ways of shining.
Nice.
You are a star. So be proud of yourself. You are somebody. You are somebody because God created you. You are a star. We got truck drivers as a star. We got nurses as a star. We got doctors. We got lawyers.
Right on.
We got ditch diggers.
Sure.
We got people in a little restaurant, Mickey D's and Wendy's restaurants and Carl Jr.'s and stuff like that.
Hell yeah.
Y'all are stars. Everybody's a star.
Preach on, baby.
I mean, that's what makes the world go around. Do not let yourself down. You are somebody. Do not let yourself down because you know what? You're not dead yet.
Excellent.
When your lips are glued to your mouth, then that's when you are finished.
I like it.
But until then, enjoy your life.
Amen. I like it. I like
God
it.
bless you all. God bless the world.
There you go. Thank you, KoKo. I tell you, James Ware, I appreciate those awesome comments and those wonderful compliments, sir. And that I'm inspired. I'm not kidding you. I'm inspired right now. I'm leaving this station today feeling inspired, and I love that. I agree. Everybody out there is a star. You all have a talent. You all have something there that makes you special. I like that. And thank you so much for the kind comments, and thank you so much for this awesome interview. I'll make sure I send you a link of this so you can enjoy it and send it to whoever you like to. And I'm going to get a hold of you later on this week, KoKo, with an address and send you those tapes from the AWF that we talked about, some of those interviews. I hope you'll like those, my friend.
All right, my man.
Hey, I'm glad we got back in touch, buddy. You take good care of yourself. God bless you as well. Thank you once again, man.
All right, God bless.
Thank you. Take care. There you go, everybody. KoKo Beware, the Birdman right there, talking and enjoying life and reminiscing about what he's been through and what he's done in this great world and in this great sport of professional wrestling. He's made so many great people happy. He's made smiles come on people's faces, and you know it was really inspiring hearing him say that. I really thought that was great of him to add that, and you know, none of this is scripted. None of this is written out. That's him being KoKo. This is me being Brian Shank, and that's exactly what it's all about, and I do appreciate that very much from his words there, and that was inspiring. That was uplifting, and I really appreciate that. It was great talking about his career because He has given so much to this fine business, and I really hope that he succeeds in what he does. I hope that everybody out there who's listening and watching and everything else, I hope you all succeed in what you do, and that you always remember that, this is professional wrestling. We love it. We want to talk about it. We want to share it. We want to express our memories. We want to do everything that we can to keep it alive, whether you're a fan of yesteryear or today or hopeful for tomorrow, whatever it may be. This is professional wrestling. This is what we enjoy. This is Off the Top Rope Radio. This is Brian Shank, and I am signing off for the day. But don't forget, next Wednesday right here, it'll be the 1st. No, actually, it'll be the, today's the 20th. Yeah, it'll be October 1st. How about that one, huh? Wow, it's amazing. October 1st, we'll be back here on KQCK Radio. Same time, 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, right here on KQCK radio stations, heard exclusively on KQCK.com. Thank you, everyone, once again for tuning in. We do appreciate all the information and all the great news from Doug McDonald from WrestlingRumors.net and the fantastic interview from KoKo Ware right here on Off the Top Rope Radio. Everybody have a wonderful week. Enjoy yourselves, and we'll see you, like I said, at the match. Thank you once again, wrestling fans, for listening to today's show. We would love to hear from you away from the airwaves, so we invite you to like our Facebook page at Off the Top Rope Radio. And any emails you want to send, please send them directly to me at Brian, BRIAN, at KQCKradio.com. We'll talk to you next week right here on KQCK Radio, USA, Costa Rica.